Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the May 6, 2026 Hyde Park Planning Board meeting. If you could please stand with me and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to start the evening with new public hearings. The first public hearing is for highway displays. We have the applicants here. May I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Hi. So last time you saw this, not much has changed. I added the existing conditions photos to the plan. And I really think that's all that was changed on the plan set.
Yeah, we really narrowed it down to
Yeah.
just a few items.
Yep.
And I know the team worked pretty hard to just make sure there were no lingering questions. And you've got the pictures and...
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And that's not for this, right? No, this is...
No,
that's for the other one. Got it.
Your second.
Okay. Tad, any comments?
No comment.
Okay. Ms. Franson?
No comments.
Mr. Sotero?
No comment.
Ms. Polidoro?
Assuming everything's been addressed, we do have a conditional approval resolution for your consideration tonight.
Make sure you use the microphone, please.
If the board is ready to move forward tonight, we have a conditional resolution prepared.
Thank you. Mr. Tuttle?
No comments.
Mr. Waters?
No comments.
Mr. V?
No comment.
Mr. Oliver?
No comment.
Ms. Lee?
Great teamwork, no comment.
Thank you.
Ms. Curcio?
No comment.
Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak to this application? This is Highway Displays. Okay.
All right.
There being none, I would like to entertain closing the public hearing, because we do have a conditional approval prepared.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And,
I have this one.
yep,
Resolution to grant site plan amendment approval, highway displays, resolution number 2025-62A, whereas. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 108-24.2 F2A of the zoning law, the planning board hereby grants the applicant an additional 2 inches to permit a maximum letter height of 12 inches on the proposed wall sign. Be it further resolved that the planning board hereby conditionally approves the amended site plan and authorizes the chair or her authorized designee to sign the amended site plan after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. 2, revision of the site plan set to amend the zoning chart to include the correct scale and shed specifications to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator. 3, revision of the site plan set to include page numbers to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator. 4, revision of the site plan set to include a note stating reserved for future ADA compliant sidewalk across the frontage of the property if or when directed by the town to be constructed by applicant, the design and location of which to be approved by the planning board engineer. If the sidewalk is not located within DOT right-of-way, the applicant shall provide a public easement in form, substance, and manner of execution acceptable to the planning board attorney and the town attorney, along with proof of recordation of the approved easement with the Dutchess County Clerk. 5, revision of the site plan set to include a graphic scale and updated landscaping details, including planting quantities to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator. 6, submission of evidence to the zoning administrator that the light poles in the parking area have been disconnected from the electrical grid.
Second.
is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few of these items to take care of, and then we can sign the plans. Thank you so much. All right, our next item on the agenda is a continued public hearing. This is for the Cool Sunny Retail Cannabis Dispensary on Route 9G in Hyde Park. May I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hi there.
Thank you. There were a lot of changes to this plan. They were all pretty minor, but we met, and I think that I was able to nail down a lot of them. So the driveway to the back, where the impound vehicles will be, that was widened. As far as the scaling goes, we figured there was 72 parking spaces potential. So there's 20 bank spaces here and a split rail fence along the back to prevent traffic and allow for snowplow removal. The landscaping was updated per Tad's recommendations. I did add a designated space for no parking at the end of the parking lot for backing out, and there's also a 10-foot knockout here. The lighting fixtures were added to the elevations.
And they were clarified, right?
Yep.
Yep.
There were a few notes that had to be updated. The bulk regulation table had to be updated. That's all done. And the hatch legend has been updated. And I brought materials for you.
And the landscaping legend,
Yes.
yes. No more O's and Q's?
Yeah, no more, yeah.
Excellent, yeah. Like you said, a lot of changes, they were all fairly
Yeah.
minor, but being able to meet with the owner was very helpful, I
Yeah.
think, for everybody,
It really was.
including,
Thank you for
yeah, that was great. Well, thank you for the fast turnaround. We were able to prepare a conditional resolution
Great.
with just a few conditions. Ms. Moss?
No, everything's fine, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for all your comments and help with this. Ms. Franson?
No further comments, thank you.
Mr. Sotero?
All good.
Ms. Polidoro?
No comments?
Mr. Tuttle?
No comments.
Mr. Waters?
No comments.
Mr. Veith?
No comment.
Mr. Oliver?
Nothing new to add.
Ms. Lee?
Same, no comments.
Mr. Curcio?
No comments.
Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak to this application? This is the Cool Sunny LLC. I also have no comments, other than it's been a pleasure to work with you on this. Yeah, exciting to get another business in Hyde Park.
And
Yes.
one thing, that is the rendering, right? The hip roofs on it, and, is that correct?
That's the roof. You
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
that
okay.
is-
Because the last time you showed us, you went back to it was a
Oh,
gable,
right,
but it was
yes.
I didn't mention it because I thought you had just pulled the current one
Yeah,
up, so, it's okay.
That's
Yep.
the
That's
most
the way-
recent one. That has the
okay.
updated lighting fixtures, the sconces on there.
Perfect.
And that's what the samples are of.
Yep.
Did you want to just run through the samples just really quick? Since,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
since
do my
you've got them all
best.
nicely laid out, you might as well.
Show 'em down. So the board and batten, these are both examples. This is the wood, and this is in like a vinyl. This is the roofing, the metal roofing, and this will be black. And then there's also black hardy plank in case the siding would be.
Okay, what's that other black thing?
I'm not sure. I think it's just a sample of.
Is it
It's
plastic?
the board and batten in.
Yes,
Oh, it's
yeah,
a bond,
yeah.
yeah.
it's-
Oh,
it's
okay.
a
Snaps
different-
together.
So
Yeah.
that,
Yes,
that
yeah.
would be black, and then so the gray. This is the.
That's
this
the
is
roof, right?
The
Yep.
gray on the front of the building could be hardy. Make sense?
But,
Yes.
yeah, the colors all look
Yep.
nice, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Nah, I think we,
So, sorry, where's the hardy board used and where's the vinyl used? Just on the elevation?
The hardy is the gray
Uh-huh.
on the front of the building. And that can either be, that's the board and batten, so that could either be vinyl or it could be wood or.
do you not know if it's going to be wood or the vinyl?
Cost?
What do we specify on the plan? Sorry,
It's all right.
I just got this. The gray siding is the board and batten.
Which is the majority of the front there, right? Yes. Well, that building's going to look a lot better once it gets done. Looking forward to that. Anybody else have any comments on that, on the materials?
So
Okay.
it's listed as being board and batten, but it's not specified what the material is on the actual
No,
sheets,
no.
it looks like.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a price.
I can bet which one's gonna be less expensive.
So we do require that the material be part of the approval.
Okay.
Just otherwise, it makes it hard for Tad to go out and confirm that.
Okay, since we still, I mean, we're just gonna be going to the town board at this point, can we confirm the materials and get back to you on that?
Do we want to add that as a
We
condition?
can make it a condition that the applicant return with
Yeah, because that way,
material for approval
depending on the,
material.
finalized
yeah, depending on the
material
price, you come back and say
list.
it's,
Sure, we could do that.
Okay.
all right, so that would be condition 4.
Yep.
Applicant to come back with a decision on siding choices?
I would say for final approval of materials,
Oh, okay.
right? Because,
Yeah.
Okay, so we would have to take a vote.
well, I mean, I guess
I'm not hearing that anybody cares which one they are.
nobody cares if it was the vinyl or the
Right.
hardy board.
Well, I do.
I'd rather
Okay.
see the Hardy board.
I'd like,
I didn't think it was going to be that easy.
Ah, see, when you say they don't have an opinion, there's an opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Do
So
you
I would
wanna-
say.
So we can point to you when we get to condition 4?
So I have a question. If it's up for discussion, right, like I don't mind, but if we're determining the color, right, now we're determining the actual material, if we are already deciding on that, what's the point in presenting that to the applicant, to the owner, if we're going to then dictate what material?
Oh, I mean, if you're able to give them, you could do it tonight, that you're choosing the, one over the other.
I'm just trying to
Yeah, to expedite.
Expedite it.
Not only that, if we're saying, hey, go talk to the owner, but there's members up here who are going to say, we want A, and the owner says we're gonna do B, then, it just seems like we're.
Yeah, so you're more than welcome to give them guidance tonight.
technically, the hardy board would be a more stable product because it's less apt to move, especially being a darker color. In the heat, once that black absorbs on the vinyl, I've actually seen the vinyl melt on the side of buildings. So, I mean, that's how you could pitch it to the owner, that it is a better product and it's less apt to
And it'll last
move
longer.
and
If
it'll
if that's what the board prefers, then.
Yeah, I would prefer that.
I'm just going to ask everybody, Dylan?
Hardy board.
Hardy board.
Don?
Hardy board.
Don't have a preference.
Ms. Lee?
I'm sort of two minds on this one because the vinyl is so much less expensive and it looks the same except for it doesn't have the same kind of strength because it's a different material. I think I'm indifferent on this one.
Ah, okay. And Mr. Garcia?
No preference.
Goodness gracious.
So,
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
I know,
It's
man.
not a large
Can I get
volume.
could you double my salary,
I was just gonna
please?
say that, yeah, it's not.
It's not a large
not-
volume,
It's just the
Ann.
front of the
Yeah, no, I
building.
know.
Yeah.
A little bit of
I
the
would
side.
say that basically, when you go quality, it'll last longer, and will end up costing him less in the long run.
Okay.
So I like the hardy board.
okay, so now we're going to add a condition 4 that says revision of the site plan set to indicate that the siding will be cementitious fiber siding, is that the right term? Right, cementitious
I
fiber?
think that's correct.
Okay, great.
I don't know the term.
Cementitious. There we
It
go.
indicates what? This is,
Oh, that's right. You know what we'll do? We'll point to her when we get to condition 4,
okay.
and Ms. Polidoro will give her rendition of it.
Sure, we'll
Okay.
take it.
All right. Is there anybody in the audience now that would like to speak to this application?
100.
Okay, there being none,
And
may
to
I get a
indicate the
motion
other
to
materials,
close the
right?
public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great.
I have this resolution.
Yes, you do.
This is resolution to grant conditional site plan approval for Cool Sunny LLC. This is resolution number 2025-65A. Whereas, now therefore be resolved that pursuant to section 108-4.5 of the zoning law, the planning board hereby modifies the sidewalk requirement in consideration of the following. Number one, the project is located on a parcel that is isolated for commercial, mixed-use, or high-density centers where sidewalks are desirable. It is separated from the nearest such center by over 2,000 linear feet of National Park Service land that will likely never be further developed. Any sidewalk constructed on this property is likely to remain an unconnected fragment in perpetuity. Be it further resolved that the planning board hereby approves the site plan set and authorizes the chair or her authorized designee to sign the site plan set after compliance with the following conditions. Number one, payment of all fees in escrow. Number two, Dutchess County Department of Health approval of the wastewater disposal system. Number three, issuance of a special use permit for retail cannabis from the Hyde Park Town Board. Number four,
Revision of the site plan set sheet P100 to indicate that the siding will be cementitious fiber siding.
be it further resolved that the planning board hereby recommends the issuance of a retail cannabis special use permit once the town board has determined that all requirements of section 108-8.6 have been satisfied.
Second?
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Oh,
wait.
Bonnie.
Oh,
Sorry, just quick question.
yep, sorry.
So for the sidewalk requirement, should at for the sidewalk requirement at the very end of 1, should it say therefore sidewalk is not required? Because we say at the now therefore be resolved, we say modifies the sidewalk requirement, and then we talk about why one wouldn't be necessary, but we don't say, and therefore not required. So perhaps just add that?
This time,
Or at this time, Tad suggested.
modifies the set of requirement to waive,
Okay,
Yeah, the lead-in says to waive,
all
right?
right, we can say waves. We
Yeah.
can change modifies to waves.
Okay,
Ah, I like that.
thank you.
Waves.
Oh, I can't find this right now. Never mind. Oh, why did I do that?
Do we need to remotion and second
Remind me to send this to you.
for the
Victoria, can
amendment?
you redo it?
Yes, let's redo the motion as amended in a second.
Okay.
Would you like me to read the motion again?
Just for the top.
You don't need to you don't need to redo it, just say
No.
motion as amended.
Yes,
Okay, motion as amended.
Second?
great. Any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion passes
Thank you.
unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your trouble.
And there's a lot of scribbles.
Have a great evening.
I'll send you the, yeah.
There's no more public hearings. We are now entering workshop. Our next item on the agenda is for Cardinal Used Auto Parts. Thank you. Hi, Mr. Bardwell.
All right, good evening, Board. Thank you for listening to our application on tonight's workshop. My name is Kyle Bardwell, Senior Civil Engineer at the LaBella Associates. Outside in the hall, who should be coming in shortly, are Ramon Leite and Paulo Ray Frank, who are owners of the Cardinal Road facility. We're here to present our application seeking site plan and special use permit approval. We will also be seeking approval for a variance of accessory structure height from the ZBA. Wanted to start with just a little bit of history, similar to what we did the last time. The 21.8 acre scrap yard property located at 191 to 193 Cardinal Road has been in operation since 1970. In 2021, LaBella, formerly the Chazen Companies, worked with the applicants to receive site plan and special use permit approval. In 2025, LaBella was brought in to assist in aiding the owner in addressing violations from the town of Hyde Park. Those violations were new structures on site, 3 canopy structures on top of concrete pads, and spreading of asphalt millings that did not receive site plan or building permits. In addition, there was also violations related to sediment-laden runoff travel onto the town road. Initially, LaBella prepared an interim erosion and sediment control plan, inclusive of pavement sweeping and tracking pads to alleviate the issue of sediment-laden runoff leaving the site. It is important to note, as we did last time, that these violations that were issued from the town were related to improvements that the applicants took in regards to New York State DEC recommendations and suggestions during their site walks related to their multi-sector general permit. The idea is, as a vehicle dismantling facility, the DC asked for some of these operations to be done undercover to prevent the runoff of fluids and materials. And this and then induced, violations from the Hyde Park. To our understanding, following our erosion and sediment control plan, there hasn't been any recent issues related to sediment lane runoff. It seems like some of the items that we brought up have been working out there. We were actually last in front of the board in December for a workshop. Kind of had a round table. We listened to comments made from the board as well as some of the consultants, and revised our drawings, prepared a response to comments, and submitted a full application in January. We were set to come back to the board for another workshop in January. At that time, we heard some additional concerns, comments from the public as well as the board, and wanted to kind of just get our group together and make sure we were responding and had a more sufficient submittal. Our plans that we submitted denote the structures that were erected on site as well as the concrete pads, and now we're here, and at the last meeting I wanted to go through some of the comments that were made and kind of what we did to address those. So there were some confusions of hours of operation in the FEAF related to operation and construction timing. We had additional time for construction, and I think there was some confusion of that being our operation hours, but that was incorrect, so we revised our FEAF. They're closed on Sundays and major holidays, and they're still working from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. On the plan, we updated notation where millings were to be removed outside of the 50-foot buffer, as well as there were some comments about ensuring that when we remove those millings, there'd be some soil restoration notes to ensure that there'd be proper vegetation growing back. In addition to that, the board asked for some further demarcation of the 50-foot vegetated required buffer to ensure that there wasn't encroachments in the future. With that, we showed fencing along 50-foot vegetated buffer on the west side, as well as some large concrete blocks on the north side. The board had some questions related to the integrity of the TET structures. And following that, a full building permit submittal was made to the town building inspector from the applicant's architect that addressed all the factors, including wind load and snow load. In addition to that, there was a request for the chip generation in the FEAF to be actual known trip generation, given this is an existing facility in use, opposed to ITE traffic generation, which was provided in the updated EAF. In addition to that, the board also asked for the applicant, Labella, to look into the code for the ability to install stormwater practices into the 50-foot vegetated buffer. Following this, we also listened to some of the town board meetings where there was public concern and questions raised on the site, just to understand what are some of the public's concerns. With that, we had walkthroughs with the planning board members to come out to the site to witness the operations on a regular day. We listened to some of the concerns and the comments that were brought up during these site visits. And tonight I'm hoping that we can have a conversation about some of the things that we're bringing up to mitigate some of these concerns, and in an effort to go back to our plan and put together a full submittal to come back to the board next month. With that, I wanted to kind of go through some of the major items that have been brought up on this project. I have broken it down into noise, buffers, the entrance, traffic, and millings. So I'm going to start with noise, which I think was probably the most discussed concern and complaint from the public. While we were on site with the board, we showed where the significant amount of that noise occurs from the dismantling operations, as well as the car crushing baler. The owners actually bought a baler to kind of reduce noise a couple years ago. Yep. To avoid heavy excavators from crushing the material. The board got to listen to that baler in use. And with that, we discussed, is there any ways of further mitigating some of that noise to address these neighbors' concerns? We talked about doing a sound study. So following those site visits, a sound engineer, Labella, came up with the methodology, and we conducted a sound study on site where we had a pretty conservative approach, putting the sound recorder just west of where that baler was in that area, right adjacent to a lot of that heavy machinery. We took readings on a Sunday when there was nothing going on to get kind of a background reading, and then we conducted it 12 to 3 on a regular business days to understand what the sound would be at max capacity. We then took that sound recording and was able to model it at the closest resident on Kyle's Court, where we've received, it's a pretty residential neighborhood. There's been some concerns from that area, so we wanted to look at it specifically from that location. We compared that against some of the DEC's suggested recommendations as it relates to sound for solid waste management facilities. We recorded on a Sunday, a background average of 40 decibels, and that was increased to an average of 45.6 decibels during construction activities. The threshold for DC solid waste management is 57 decibels, and other agencies are somewhere between 65 and 67. It's also below the 10 decibel threshold that the increase that the DC would require mitigation consideration. With that, although it doesn't seem that there's anything excessive or meeting thresholds in the DC, the applicants want to be good neighbors and look into how we can mitigate and even further some of that noise. It's understood that this is a residential neighborhood, and any increase in noise you would hear, whether it's something that would reach the limits of DEC mitigation. With that, I wanted to bring up an idea that we spoke with our sound engineers that would greatly reduce some of that noise coming off the site headed towards Cal Court. So the location where they're doing the baling and a lot of that heavy machinery is located on somewhat of the west. Looking at this site, this is north, so down page west. So this concrete pad is where a lot of that work is going. So we're proposing basically a 10-foot wall that would kind of do an L shape here, connect to the existing shipping container. And the idea is we're thinking that 10 feet high would be a significant decrease in getting noise brought to the west, where Kyle Court is somewhere down here. In addition to that, when you come up with wall structures like that, you have the ability to bounce noise in the other direction. So we're talking about basically creating a wall with shipping containers is our thought, and putting a sound absorbent material to avoid the bounce back of noise. It would greatly reduce the noise at Kyle Court, and kind of wanted to hear if the board had any comments or questions on that matter.
Kyle, what were you saying? I'm sorry. What were you saying about, you said something about readings on a Sunday, or maybe I misunderstood. Well,
Sure. That's a good question, Pete. So
so you did baseline on a
Yes.
Sunday, which is
Exactly.
worst case.
background.
Best case.
That's
Yes.
worst,
Best
okay.
case.
Okay,
Yep.
best case,
And then we
worst.
compared it to, your
I
typical
got it,
operations.
okay, all right.
And I'm sorry, where would the wall go?
Sure. So right now, a lot of their car crush baler is located right on this concrete pad. And this is the tent where they remove some of the engines, and it goes to the crusher from there. So there's already a sheet there. We would basically extend that to form a wall to the west, and then we would bring it up further just to prevent spillage out of the side.
Where's Cardinal Road on that plan? I mean,
Sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Cardinal Road.
All right, all right, that's what I thought, okay.
Yeah, the day we were out there, John Lombardi was there, and we looked at the shipping container idea. I think it's excellent.
Right. We have seen some other case studies where during construction they've done shipping containers to block noise. Seems to have worked in other neighborhoods.
With foam on them or some kind
Right,
of,
exactly.
or some
It's
kind of
absorbing material. So
absorbing
basically
material.
pushing that noise down.
Right.
No, you do have neighbors, though, to the east.
Sure. And it's a good point. So one thing we looked at in the modeling, a significant amount of the comments and concerns from the public have been from the west. The way the topography works is between our site and Kyle Court, there's a direct line of vision. And the way sound travels is basically from eye to eye. Towards the east, there is a slight knoll, and then it drops down. So the sound has a harder time to carry. So what we'll do is in the submittal, we have a full sound report that kind of shows some of those profiles of the lines of noise that we will submit. And take a look at that.
So you looked at spots not just at Kyle Court, but surrounding?
For this part of the study, we primarily looked at Kyle Court as the idea that would probably have the greatest amount of noise coming from this facility in use.
Okay.
Yeah, that area was kind of felt like it was on a ledge, and
Right,
and
exactly.
it was flat and went out over a valley. So there was no other ledges or, yeah, or mounds or
Right,
mini
there's a
mini
direct-
hills or anything like that. It just kind of went.
There's a direct line. And
went
obviously,
directly west.
Hopefully during the summer, there would be further mitigation with the amount of forest.
So I think the report should at least have all of that data in it, explaining why you didn't study the other points based on topography.
And the shipping container there'll be one shipping container 10 feet high?
It'll be
So
a
will they
string
be
of them.
stacked?
No, no.
No, will they be stacked, is what I'm asking.
Right, we would take a look at the shipping container dimensions, but we're trying to achieve basically a 10-foot height.
Above the current grade.
Above current grade, exactly. So the idea is we would submit that sound report, which is thorough, and show this sound absorption barrier on our next submittal.
So Bonnie, does your firm have a noise?
We work with people and we've reviewed noise.
Are they in-house, or does the board need to hire someone to review it?
I think it depends, we have to see the study and what they used. I don't know if you use CADNA or if you did just basic calculations. I think just a couple points. Obviously, one, we have to see the underlying assumptions. I don't know where you did the predictions from. Oftentimes, the preference is to actually measure the noise levels, like at and around the houses. So I don't know if that was done or if it's just a prediction. The other thing is that the noise guidance actually says that 3 to 6 can be an impact for the most sensitive receptors, which could be residential. So I don't think that 10 dB is the measurement of when something's impactful. It can be less than that, as per the noise guidance. And I think in terms of the noise, it's not just about the actual decibel level, it's the type of noise that's being generated. You know, the tone, frequency, you know, we heard clunking noises, you know, it's not a constant hum like a highway. So how you characterize it and whether it's adverse or, you know, impactful is different than, you know, other types of noise generators. So, you know, we look forward to seeing the study, and then I think once we see what it encompasses, then we could decide whether we have noise consultants we work with, we can review it up to a point, but then at some point we feel more comfortable sending it out to a noise specialist. So, okay.
Sure. We do have a sound engineer at Labella who, you know, kind of focused on this study and a lot of the findings, and we would have them attend upcoming meetings so that they could speak on any specific comments from the consultant.
Thanks.
To Bonnie's point, does the study include essentially like a catalog of potential noise sources? Something that I think we're struggling with a little bit is what we heard on the site versus what we have heard from the public about the nature of certain noises. They're like particularly quick percussive noises that we didn't really witness on the site, but we have heard from others have occurred. So we're I don't know, we're trying to sort of rectify that and figure that out.
In the report, I know they discuss kind of like an average sound recording measurement level, and then there's also times where it peaks with a certain noise.
Okay.
And that is mentioned in the report, kind of like the max decibel level. But I will make sure to note type of noise is something that if we can include in the report.
And just to piggyback off of Dylan's comment and Bonnie's as well, As I mentioned on the site walk, my brother resides at 213 Cardinal Road, which would be to the east, southeast. And multiple times while at his house in the last 6 to 8 months, I've heard excessive noise that was not present on the site during the site walk. And as I think I even mentioned during our site walk, like it was to the level of when I was on the phone with him at times, I would say, oh my gosh, like what was that? He's like, oh, it's just the car dismantling place behind me. And it wasn't, the noise we witnessed, I didn't think was,
Right.
with anything that I have personally witnessed or heard, through the phone with him, and just to add to that.
And I would also agree that, because we have heard about the east and southeast, that I would want to, just so we can say we did look at all of that.
Sure.
And to Dylan's point, we live north of a construction site, which is, I think, 3 miles away. And when they are doing site work, we can hear it, and it's a percussive sound. And someone who knows large machinery said, oh, that's the noise that a large machine that has like the fork tines on it, as it's moving, and it makes the noise. And you might have those there right when you go to pick up pieces of the machinery. I thought I saw something with the
We
big...
have payloaders. Usually what makes those noises, the excavators that you're talking about with the tracks. If they have metal tracks, they go ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, or the jackhammer, on the rock.
Right, yeah.
Which
yeah,
we don't
okay.
do.
I think maybe when the forks are empty.
That's it, it's when they're empty, yes.
The forks do sometimes, hit.
Bounce.
Yeah,
Yes.
bounce off
Yes,
because
because I know
solid
on
tire.
site, but see, on site, when you can see it,
Mhm.
it doesn't make as big an impact as if you're just off-cycling. What is that noise? So
Yeah.
anyway, just
Sure.
trying to piggyback that the baler is one type of noise. We also know that the trucks that are dropping off and picking up, they have the backup beeps.
Yeah.
Right? We know that on site, those don't, that those aren't working. But so you'll have that, so there's these different levels of sound.
Right.
So-
And the idea was we tried to set up the recorder for 3 hours of getting data.
Yeah,
So
no,
that we
that's-
would have all
yeah.
of those different pieces in there.
Yep.
But we'll take a look at some of those comments and see if there's maybe some other noise on a specific operation that might not have been
Yeah.
occurring during the site visit.
Yep.
Or,
Or think of those things that only happen either weekly or
Right.
something that, because maybe the daily stuff flies under the radar. It's some of these activities that you do, like maybe when they come and pick up those, what were the little round things in the cardboard boxes? The, what were they?
The rims?
The rims, yes. Like when they go to pick up the rims, whenever they do that, maybe that makes a lot of noise, but that's only done,
Yeah, for the-
weekly or,
For the forks, we're actually having the mechanic work on the rubber
Okay.
pieces to put it so that when you drive
more like,
around. Yeah,
mufflers on them.
yeah.
Okay.
I have a quick one. When did you purchase the balers? Is that
2 years?
this year?
2 years ago.
Oh.
2 years ago.
2 years
Yeah.
ago? Okay. Because one thing, again, we had like heard, or I thought that we heard, was that, and again, whether it's true or not, that you guys were using like an excavator to pound on the cars, is that?
Well, to an extent, yes. When we were closing out the cars before the baler, we used to not like bang, but
Right,
used to hit it
yeah.
off
Right.
just to crush down as much as possible.
But now,
the
you don't
car.
have to go do that
No,
anymore with the,
yeah.
right, okay, fine.
Now the baler does all
Right,
the.
understand.
Yeah, all we saw was folding.
Yeah, all it does is folds. Yeah.
It's just
Oh, the
Kinda
noise I
fascinating.
witnessed on site was impressive. It really was not bad, but like I had mentioned, it was definitely different than what
And we understand, obviously.
Yeah.
And honestly, what you guys saw is the operation that happens all the time. I'm sure there are times that something, maybe Bobby even mentioned earlier that when we move a container, it might hit
Sure.
it and then
Right.
it makes a
Right,
noise
right,
for
right.
a couple of seconds.
Yep.
But I mean, what you guys heard is what it is. Really,
Yep.
we're not hiding anything, you know.
Yeah, no, I felt that we saw everything.
And we're willing to work with whatever you guys, you know,
Yep.
want and need. And we know that we are in the residential area, so.
Does that help you with
Yes,
comments about the sound?
You know, I think kind of the approach that we brought up sounds like it'll work, and we'll make sure to take a look at some of the other pieces, maybe to the east and southeast, and, yeah, definitely. With that, I wanted to move on to another, that was probably the biggest item, but I wanted to move on to buffer, where I know there were some concerns with some encroachments into this 50-foot vegetated buffer. We proposed large concrete mafia blocks on our last plan to demarcate that 50-foot buffer to prevent them from encroaching further. On the west side, we proposed an 8-foot tall chain link fence that would demarcate as well as prevent encroachments. One thing I wanted to bring up to the board is while on site, it was pretty clear that there was a substantial drop-off on the west side, and a privacy fence wouldn't really do much for the site given the elevation of where they're doing a lot of their operations. So with that, I was going to request the board if we could basically demarcate the 50-foot buffer with concrete blocks along this west side. We're going to put this sound barrier fence up here, and then I was going to ask the board if we could then extend a section of fence along this piece where it would actually help with some of the privacy screening,
Oh,
opposed to down here where you would just look right over it.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
we saw that, yeah.
Um,
And at one point, I think where it needed to be was halfway down that hill, right? Which wasn't going to accomplish much of anything. I forget what
Right,
that was,
exactly.
but that,
Exactly.
it wasn't going to really do what it's intended. I think that would be a request on the application to, I don't know, modify a standard, I don't know. We'll work with you on
Okay.
how it needs to be asked.
Sure.
It goes back up towards Kyle Court at that point, right? The plan goes,
Off-site, it does.
sure, okay, because
Right,
there's
right.
the area where we do the most of the work,
Yep,
dips
drops
down,
down to the
goes
property
to an
line.
area that wasn't being used for car storage when we were there,
Right.
but certainly could be, right? And then it goes back up
Right.
after that.
Yep.
So are the homes sort of looking down on that, and it's simply that like an 8-foot fence or whatever would not be tall enough to make a difference on that?
Correct. Kyle Court is almost the elevation of where they're doing the dismantling operations.
It's quite a bit. So even if you were to plant arborvitae or something like that, it
Right,
still wouldn't be
exactly.
tall enough to
So
make a difference?
what we're proposing is basically to put that up on the hill.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that changes that. It doesn't change
Right,
the area down
exactly.
below, and I suppose that's been an existing condition for,
Right. And we would, put the concrete blocks
So they
to
were doing
demarcate that
maintenance.
50-foot vegetated buffer. There would still be a 50-foot vegetated buffer down there.
Is
So-
that buffer area planted currently? What is in that 50-foot buffer right now?
Right now, it's woods, and that's gonna bring me into my next
Okay.
item that I wanted to discuss with.
You should be specific about which side is woods.
Sure.
West, right?
So,
West side.
yeah, this is west on the site here.
And that is all woods within that 50-foot buffer currently?
No.
No.
It's a-
If you look on the
I think
aerial.
he means beyond that, right?
The aerial is not perfect, but it's not really showing any buffer on that side.
It's showing asphalt,
Yeah.
millings, and cars even going onto the, well, it could be the aerial.
The other side seems to have vegetation.
Unless the fence.
Right, the other side is significant. There are some areas of millings in that area. I was kind of specifically talking about the location below that dismantling, which we had located some trees. It might not be the full 50-foot vegetated buffer.
I think they'd want to see that on the site plan is,
Existing and proposed.
existing and
right?
proposed vegetation.
And it does bring me honestly into exactly where I kind of wanted to go with this, which is right now with our current plan, we're proposing sediment basins and vegetated swales along our 50-foot vegetated buffer here. With that, there was a comment at the last meeting that asked us to look into whether stormwater management practices would be allowed in the 50-foot vegetated buffer. We couldn't find anything specific to the code. It was pretty specific on just being a vegetated buffer. The idea is these vegetated swales would grow in with, vegetation over their lifetime, the same with the sediment basins. So we wanted to bring up to the board whether that was something that they felt would be sufficient for a 50-foot vegetated buffer, was to have something like vegetated swales and sediment basins.
I think the buffer is specified as evergreens.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have it's 108?
From the original plan, you mean?
The site plan?
For salvage yards.
Oh, for salvage yards.
25.4.
Thank you. I'm gonna pull it up. Scrap yards.
And last time we put the evergreens along Cardinal Road.
Yes,
So
They look nice.
yeah.
It's 108.25.4C. A scrap yard shall be fully enclosed and completely screened from adjoining parcels and all public ways with fencing or a combination of fencing and evergreen landscaping approved by the planning board. They shall also provide a setback around the entire perimeter of the required screening, so of that fencing evergreen combo, that is no less than 50 feet in depth, and it shall be infilled with a vegetative cover. So I think it's specific that it needs to be a fence or evergreen trees with infill vegetation.
And no stormwater.
I mean, stormwater that infill, they can make that argument, but I don't think it can just be a stormwater basin.
Okay.
So, okay, that would make sense. So in that case, the idea is we can bring the fence back along that 50-foot buffer to denote the buffer. And then from the property line to that fence is where we would have either grass or like a sediment basin. And so that's the request we would make.
I didn't believe that's how that read.
No.
I think you should take another look at it.
Okay.
Are you
Because
saying that the
I think-
grass is the vegetative cover?
Well,
I think the concept of the second
25 feet.
25 or 50 feet is for a perimeter where emergency access could be obtained around the site, I think.
No, in this section,
Okay.
this one, that 50 feet is for the required screening.
And I think there's also something about,
There's, above it, you have to maintain open alleys and fire lanes.
oh, but it doesn't have to go around the perimeter? Okay, that's fine.
I think, yeah. It's an additional requirement.
So you'll need to obviously look at the language there from a practical perspective. So you've been, how visible is that area from the Kyle Court homes? Leaf off conditions.
I haven't looked at it from Kyle Court. I know it'd be significantly downhill and probably blocked by, there's a significant amount of woods.
Right, there's about like 500 feet at least
Right.
of woods.
Right.
I don't, depending on how they read that section and what they end up deciding is permitted, I don't know that we get a whole lot else by, I don't know that we lose a whole lot by having
I think it's
the stormwater in that extra, in that 50 feet, given how much buffer exists. The difference between 500 and 550, I don't know,
Yeah.
that's huge, but they need to,
Right, and then we would do a combination of fencing and evergreens at that 50-foot mark if that's what the board would like.
oh,
Is what it sounds like as it relates to the screening piece.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I was just reading what was required. I wasn't giving a value judgment.
I think they're counting, that there would be.
right, so you'll have to figure out what's required, but, so I guess I'm providing the value judgment of,
All right, we'll move forward with that
So
approach in our submission.
there's land that's in between. We were just looking at the map. Tad was saying, the owner owns the land in between the houses
Oh, right.
that are along,
Prior.
The prior.
the prior owner, correct,
Yes.
prior owner.
There you go.
And actually, there's a stream, there are probably wetlands. I don't know how developable that area is, but it looks like to the property lines, it's about 350 feet, and then to the houses, it's about 500 feet away from the edge of the scrapyard property.
Right. So it's kind of, what we'll do is we'll take a look at some of the view sheds from Kyle Court. It's kind of where it's like, I'm not sure how much an 8-foot tall fence would do along that 50-foot buffer. That's why I wanted to bring up the fact if the stormwater basins that would be vegetated would fall inside of that code. But what we'll do is we'll take a look at the code again and make a submission, and then we can hear some comments and proceed in that route.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, we'll all work to figure out what's allowed and what, how best to approach it.
One of the other items that I wanted to speak on was the entrance at the site visit. There was some concerns related to where the existing driveway was that came off Cardinal Road. It's not the best for sight distance. Talking with a few of the board members, we did look to see if it was plausible to move that entrance a little further east, where there would be sufficient sight distance. Unfortunately, there's a pretty rocky ledge there, and was not able to come up and meet the site with an appropriate grade. With that, the other idea was to move that entrance further west, down the hill, where we would be able to kind of come into the site and loop in at this location. With that, we have a much better sight distance, but we would be putting a driveway right across from the existing residence driveway across the street. With the fact that there hasn't been any accidents or issues with the current driveway, I wanted to be open and ask the board if they had a very big preference on how they would want to proceed with that. Whether they felt that adding a driveway down here would make things better or possibly create issues with the residents from across the street. There is a berm that runs along the property line here that we would have to cut through for that driveway. So that's another topic that I wanted to bring to the board before we put it on the plans.
I like to go look at it in the field. I don't remember. It's hard to give an answer.
Yeah, there was like one of those famous Hyde Park rock outcroppings, like right at the end,
Yeah.
which are really hard to cut back. I was saying if they could cut it back, and then it would allow them to make an easier turn, but it is the Hyde Park rock. I think this plays into the whole traffic in general and what would work best. Do you have just looking at big picture, is it still best to come in from North Quaker? And, just trying to think in terms of the different types of traffic that you're getting, right? You have everything from the super large Baroni trucks, right, that come in, or whoever is taking out all of the crushed metal, right? You have those, you have deliveries of every size from small regular tow trucks to flatbeds that tow. You have different levels of access to the site and different types of vehicles that are coming in. And I'm just wondering if we shouldn't be looking at that instead of a one-size-fits-all. Like, does it make sense? It might make sense to have that entrance off of the flat portion for certain of the vehicles.
Right. And we were thinking if we were to add this additional drive that we could do a direct ingress and a direct egress.
Like a circle.
Basically.
Like a circle. Yep. So, I don't know how to decide what works best,
Kyle, do you have, can you do, I mean, not a fully engineered plan, obviously, but some kind of like a sketch on what you're thinking about?
Sure.
And then send it up to us, and I can go out with the highway superintendent, and then, of course, any, planning board members can go on their own, to look at, and then we can, get back to you. How's that?
Totally.
Just something,
Totally.
I mean, just something, like rough.
I just wanted to be, it was brought up at the site visit.
Yeah,
We did
right.
look
Yep,
into it,
yep.
just wanted to make sure we were being responsive on that.
And I've just been thinking in terms of just the whole, how everything works with the surrounding area. And, again, I'm not sure who the best person is to do that, but it could be that there are ways, like if you're this type of truck, you can go out this way, or, take this exit, use these roadways. If you're this type of truck, you should really always come in off of North Quaker. It just seems like, because you kind of control who is coming onto your property for the most part from the truck perspective, that to look at it in that respect, because we saw all different types of vehicles coming in.
Sure.
And some of them had absolutely no problems navigating, and others that were, the long ones are just, they're the ones who have to stop and kind of angle their way into the site. And I would say you're lucky that you haven't had any issues
Right.
at that point.
So with that, I think this would definitely help with that aspect. I just wanted to make sure the board, at that point, could be a hindrance to the driveway across the street, so I just wanted to bring that up as something that we noted during that piece. Just wanted to get the board's opinion.
Some of this is trying to do a more holistic approach so that everything works better, which ultimately means there's less things to complain about.
Sure. We have a pretty thorough sketch at this point, so Pete, I can get that over to you.
Yeah, that's fine. Just send it up.
Yeah.
Email it. You can email it, Cynthia, and then she'll.
And I don't know if you're going to talk about in general traffic, but, Pete, maybe when you go out with the highway superintendent, again, kind of take a look at it, because we do know that certain areas, again, these the long trucks seem to have problems on certain parts of the road.
Yeah, I mean, we just paved the road, a few years ago, and it's pretty well beat up. Right, Ray?
We still have problems.
Yeah, it's a narrow road, and in places where there's the turns, you can almost tell that was a long truck that had to go off the road a little bit in order to navigate. So I'm just thinking.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And, we also had, I think that the prior special use, permit had a certain limit on number of, deliveries or something, number of trucks.
Per day.
Yeah,
per
so I think
day
there
or
was
something
3
like
per
that, and
day,
I don't know
yeah.
how we equate, and we'll have to go look at it, but I mean, I think you have bigger tractor
more
trailers.
Same type of equipment. Same type of trucking that we had in the first special use permit.
But there's more of them.
There's more.
More frequent.
We are proposing more trips
Frequency, I think.
now.
Yeah, it's more
And more
trucks.
employees.
Pete,
It went from 2 to 25 or something like that.
Correct.
Question regarding a traffic study. Is there a way, because I know you do traffic counts with the meters, is there a way to monitor the type of vehicle and get like a type of vehicle count over a long-range period of,
I mean, Dylan's over
say
here nodding his head, so I'm gonna
three-
defer to him. 'Cause
like a 3 to...
He's over here just like itching to answer.
Because, and I say this for 2 reasons. So I think the way my brain's working is like a 3 to 4 month time period and average it out and see what it is. Because I look at like a safety concern from my niece and nephew living on that road and traveling it. These tractor trailers with the giant boxes, the road's already, I don't know when it was paved, but you can see it's already separating.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
no, we know that.
structurally, it's
The
not
roads,
good.
you guys do realize that when they paved the road too, they just laid asphalt over the bad road.
Yeah.
But it
So, like,
was
it's not
a
like they
road
even
not
fixed it.
designed for heavy truck traffic.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but the
No,
road
we
was
know.
deteriorating and they didn't even bother fixing it prior to paving though. That's all I'm saying,
Oh.
you know? So they literally
no
just
prep work.
paved over the bad road. It's not like they fixed it,
Yeah,
you know?
thought
They
they
didn't mill
fixed
the roads, they didn't take out the bad stuff underneath it. When you pave a driveway, you gotta do the basing prior to paving. You just don't go in your house and pave the driveway and expect it to last forever.
All right, so we could skip that part, but the safety concern regarding, the tractor trailers on a,
No,
Town-
we
town
are aware
country
of that.
road.
We
Yes.
are aware, the amount of trips and everything, but as mentioned, it's been 5 years. God forbid, we monitor all our trucks, we do our best, we work with everybody, we tell the drivers and every single employees, not just the drivers from the trucks, but also the employees that come onto Cardinal Road to drive slow, and we do our best to maintain the trucks at a certain speed on Cardinal Road, because we are aware there are kids there are people that live there. I wouldn't want people driving like crazy on my road too. It would upset me, and we try to get along with everybody. And hasn't been any accidents because we are careful,
Yeah, I'm not saying from like a
understand.
speed concern.
Mhm.
I'm saying more sight lines and size of vehicles versus what the road was originally designed for.
But that's kind of what I was saying, is you have different
Types of trucks.
types of
yeah.
trucks, and just to understand, like, over a time period, which ones are run
Yeah.
more frequently, or
Yeah.
if they're all the same,
Yeah, we'll try and give
Yeah.
a really good breakdown of what the expected trips are on a daily basis, what
Yeah.
types of vehicles those are.
Well, not expected, like, can we do an actual study?
because they have the data.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
They have the
exactly.
data. They
I
can just
mean-
look back and go,
Yeah,
here's what it was.
But you were suggesting a traffic counter,
Correct, with,
so that you get like
that we
a
can monitor
24-hour.
real traffic of the larger vehicles. Not what's expected, but what we actually are using the road with.
But they track that, so that should be pretty easy to get.
You can.
Yeah. And, when we were there that day, it's actually a very busy road. The Cardinal
is.
Road is very busy. I watched box trucks going up and down the road. I watched probably, the younger generation going kind of fast, because there's a straightaway right there, so, there was some gunning of it's a busy road. And I don't think anybody really thought it would be that busy. It was always just an old cow path, so.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how to get things to work.
So Dylan, what were
Sorry.
you, no,
I
but
mean to scare
seriously,
you,
I'm
Pete.
no, I'm just interested in what you're,
Just that absolutely, like your standard traffic count includes speed data and it includes axle data that can give you a sense of how many vehicles of varying types are using.
but
a
that's got to be
particular road.
that's got to be like a person, right?
No, with tubes, they do, it's because, like when you see double tubes, if you see a single tube along a road, that's just doing counts. If you see two of them, that's measuring speed and the distance between axles to give you a sense of.
what's related to us versus what's related to every other.
Well,
You wouldn't be, it would be
Yeah,
just
you
a
wouldn't
general
be,
sense
right.
of how
But
many
again,
trucks
they
are on
have,
the road.
but they have their, but they have their data.
Yeah,
sure.
So,
Well,
If I could just say, you have your data, so we know. And if something
Yeah,
measures
exactly.
100 trips of whatever it counts, and they say 25 of those were hours,
And you can know what's normal along a
can
road
see.
of that type to
Yeah.
account for delivery trucks and things like that, and see how high above the normal it is too,
Yeah.
But it's also, when you do them at intersections, you'll know if traffic's peeling off, because you're
Correct.
measuring at two different points.
Yep.
And so if yours is in the middle of that, they can tell from point A to point B what the change is in the traffic, so they would know what is generally going to your facility. But it depends on how the traffic engineer or the traffic wants to,
but Bonnie, they already,
model it.
Bonnie, they're already tracking all that.
Yeah.
They know all that.
Yeah.
They have all the data.
What I would
Yeah, we have a
recommend is-
GPS actually system that would
They know
give all the
exactly.
trips out
Yeah.
too.
we could-
I'm just saying, I'm not sure what's being asked here, because do we want a traffic study on the road to get general, and then comparative to, what part of it is theirs? Is that what you meant?
I was implying they may have data, but I would like to see what the actual is. If that makes any sense.
Do you want a
So if
traffic
there's-
study based
To
on-
verify.
Correct, verify,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, yeah.
Tad, were you going to say something?
Yeah.
Tad?
I
yes,
just
please,
wanted
sorry.
to let you know that that driveway that's across from where you might put your access, that previously had a use variance to have a business there.
Oh,
It recently withdrew that and converted to a residential. So it's not like was no business in the area.
Okay. Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Things change over the years.
Yeah.
So is that something you think you could do?
Yeah, I mean, what I think we'll do is we'll talk to our traffic engineers, we've done traffic counts.
Yep, yep.
We'll take a look at what data we do have, see if we can supplement it with some actual
Yep.
in-the-field data, and provide something for the next minute.
And prior to doing it, if Ann and the rest of the board agrees, maybe Dylan, if you're available, you and I could have like an offline meeting with them, set up where
Sure.
we could do this to,
We could come up with an approach and send it to you guys to
Yeah.
give your
Yeah.
opinion on whether that'd be something.
just that way you're not spinning your wheels doing
Sure.
stuff that.
Totally.
Right, or having to
Right.
redo.
Yeah,
And that was
correct.
kind of the idea tonight, is to bring up some of these
Yep.
things before we
Yep.
put it on the plan, to get
Yep.
your buy-in, so that's Thank you for putting up with a lot of that. I know there's a lot of different things, but I wanted to hit on everything that we talked about, the major items at the site visits. It'll probably take a little time for us to get some of this stuff put together.
The one thing we didn't talk about was millings.
Yes, good call. I can speak on that. So, one of the items in our plan set was we were removing areas of millings to come down to the impervious coverage that was approved prior in 2021. On the site visit, it sounded like there was a lot of comments from the board that were in favor of the millings and creating kind of a clean site, less mud. It would be something that would likely put us above coverage calculations and require variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals, which is why we were intending to try and remove and create impervious. But it's something that I did want to bring up to the board, and if they had a preference on how they wanted to see the site.
Feel free to weigh in, anybody. I mean, when you first came before us last fall, there were piles everywhere. When we went on site, I didn't see any piles, and it was my understanding that's what got rid of all the mud that was coming out on the roadways, right?
Right, exactly. It helped with any, mud and runoff.
Right. As far as the I don't know, that's kind of a tad question when we start talking about impervious
Well, the other thing
coverage.
too is,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the millings are considered totally impervious or there's some, I mean, so as
They're
far as.
supposed to be compacted.
As far
and
as
I
like
don't know if
counting towards like coverage, I don't know, I'm just throwing.
Does that mean that it's impervious if they're compacted, Tad?
I don't have those charts. I haven't.
Okay.
I mean, it's just something like to
Yeah,
look
no,
at. I mean, that might, I mean, if we.
It's not like it doesn't look like concrete.
Right.
It's like there might be some infiltration.
We could take a look to see if there's maybe some type of way of making it a kind of a pervious, maybe there's an approach to laying down millings that would allow for some infiltration.
Do you notice the millings spilling out onto the road a lot there, or no?
No.
No, I didn't see that when I was there,
Yeah.
so, and you're not sweeping it, right? You
No.
don't have a machine that's, sweeping it.
I mean,
'Cause, I mean, they do have those machines to do that.
Yeah,
And they
we
actually
do have one.
They actually have
We have
graded
a-
systems, so when trucks go out, they don't, it kicks off the, whether it's the rock, the stone, so that they're not, hitting windshields and
Yeah.
stuff. So there are systems that they have, but I didn't see that, but I did like the millings because walking on some of that site, there was a lot of mud.
Oh, yeah.
And I could just imagine, an 18-wheeler or a 22-wheeler taking stuff out onto the road.
Mhm.
People would be complaining about, drift out onto the road.
That's
and-
why we bought the broom, because
Right.
before we
Exactly.
were having a problem.
yeah.
Ever since we put the millings down, it kind of solved that
Right.
issue.
Right.
Pretty much the whole driveway is paved up until
The office. Yeah.
Right.
So Pete, what I think we could do is maybe like look at the surface material, come up with some ideas, possibly calling that pervious, and we'll bounce them off you before we.
Yeah, I mean, do you have for the area that you, are you planning on covering like more than what's there like now or?
No.
Okay.
No.
So do you have like a coverage
Yes,
percentage
exactly.
with what's there like now?
Correct.
And why don't you send that too, because, maybe there's a way we can go look at it that maybe it's not considered totally, impervious. So, I don't know, I'm just,
No,
we're just like
Yeah.
thinking here, or.
Yeah, trying to figure
Right.
out how
I know
to,
that the board really wanted the millings and,
So
made
when
a
you
comment.
put, when you have brought in the millings, I mean, how do you put them down? You get like a bulldozer and just kind of
Just the
levels?
payloaders, and then back, the payloader with the bucket.
Yeah.
We would put in, literally just back.
But you don't bring in a, like a roller and
No.
try to compact?
No, because the truck's driving up and down.
Yeah, no,
It helps,
because I think that does leave a little bit of, like perviousness.
Yeah.
Whatever, we'll look at it. Because we did that, actually, we had purchased some millings and we put them on the Hackett Hill parking lot in the front. And, we had the contractor, roll it because that's a
Yeah.
parking lot.
right,
But there's still, I mean, I've been out there during heavy rains and you don't see like on
The
finished
ponding.
asphalt where
No,
it's,
it's so.
where it's like sheet
Sheet
flowing.
flow.
It's
Right.
kind of
Looks like
soaking
it
in a
might- some
little
of
bit
it's
too,
going
so.
down.
I mean,
Anyways,
we
we'll
can
go,
even discuss like pervious pavement. There's a testing where you basically apply water to the surface to watch it infiltrate, to make sure that the
You gotta
pervious.
vacuum those, right?
yeah, we don't want to go there.
Officially, we don't wanna go to
No, we don't
vacuuming.
want to go there.
So.
no, no.
Okay, so so if you send that,
Okay.
I think we can,
Okay.
because I think everybody thinks the millings are a good thing.
Okay.
So we can go work around, the coverage issue.
So thank you very much for
Yes.
coming out and
good.
and
Probably-
giving us an update on all the work that you've done. I think you have gotten some good direction on maybe doing a little bit more on the noise study, looking into the traffic study, and working with Pete to, but I think you're getting very close to do a submission.
Right. It's going to take us a little while to put together some of those things, especially do a study.
Yep.
But yeah, just want to let, show that we're trying to.
The one question I wanted to ask is, do you, the noise that I know that can be a big noise is when you get like a 30-yard dumpster and they deliver it and it goes bang. Do you get, right, you get those?
We were having, prior when the trucks were delivering the millings, we were having those issues with some of the drivers. They were
Because
told
they dump, yeah, they
to
drop
dump
them.
it, and then when they dropped it,
Yep.
it would
Slap the
slam
tailgate.
the
Yeah.
gates.
Because I know
So the
that
guys-
can make a really,
Yeah, but then we stopped doing it, and we haven't been bringing millings anymore, so.
yeah. Okay,
But that's all we could
Yep.
think of now. Like probably a couple years back too, we used to load the wheels like we told you guys on site,
Yep.
on the containers
Yep.
and the banging, boom, 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 bing, bing,
Sure.
bing, all of that.
now
Now
they're
we
put it,
palletize everything to stop the noise. So,
yes. All right. All right. Thank you very much.
thank you guys.
We really
Have a good
appreciate
night,
your
guys.
time.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks. Thank you, Board. Excellent comments. Our next item on the agenda is Caris Memory Care at Belfield. Come on down.
Will it mess anything up if I take out the?
It's gonna blow up, Chris.
No, but you just have to find it.
Old TV.
No, I think that's
That's
Cynthia's.
probably mine. So planning
It's the
on
Madam
it?
Secretary's, yes.
Ew, they wouldn't both fit, the ports
No.
are too close.
Yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good to have you back.
Good evening.
We now have an application before us.
I'll just zoom over to the site plan. Good to see everybody. We have been working on the plan, refining it a bit, and we put together our first package with SWIP and an engineer's report to supplement it. We just got our first comments from Pete and Bonnie, and a lot of good comments. I think a lot of them are, they're all kind of related to each other too, so I could probably just hit on a few of the high-level ones, and a lot of the smaller technical ones I think are pretty straightforward and we could handle. But, one of the things that we noticed is, of course, we have these few spots that are getting clipped by the, this is the 100-foot buffer off of the Marici Kill. When we made the revisions to the plan to allow the one-way traffic circulation, we actually ended up with an island that is well oversized right here, and I think it would just make life a lot easier for everyone, including the people parking, if we took a few of these spaces and just brought them into the island over here closer to the building. We could actually make those the ADA compliant spaces since they're closer to the building anyways, and then I know there was the one comment about adjusting the detail for diagonal ADA parking. That one would go away if we just did some standard spaces over here. The 4-foot walk, I think that's also a pretty easy adjustment. We could get that to 5 feet on the front side of the building. So a couple layout changes I think could take care of quite a few of those comments, and a lot of the other ones we need to catch up the EAF to the evolving plan, and some of the figures in the engineer's report too with the project boundary. I think our soils map might have showed a bigger boundary than is really reflected by the property line. So we're happy to make those updates. I think one of the bigger comments on the SWIP was if, since this parcel is going to be subdivided out, would this be a standalone SWIP, or would it be like part of the rest of the PUD? And we would want to go to DEC and see if they'd be willing to, but I think we would take the position that this could be handled as a standalone SWIP. It's going to be a separate parcel, a separate owner, separate people working on it, and it is really pretty much as close as you can get to being on an island without being on an island.
And it's not in the HOA, right?
They will contribute to the master HOA.
Ah.
But it's.
Sorry, microphone.
What's that?
Microphone.
Chris, maybe you could take the other one so you each have a...
Yeah. So they will have some part of the master HOA, but not a significant part. Right.
So when we went to DEC earlier on, they did want us to, keep it all under one permit, but it makes a little more sense where everything is all compacted together in one area. This is really, it's discharging on the other side of the creek, and it's can be handled in isolation. So that's what we're going to push for, but ultimately we're going to go whichever direction the permitting agency says we need to go.
Yep.
With that, the parcel will be subdivided, and we're submitting the preliminary plat on this May 19th.
We did have a follow-up discussion with the county on the right-of-way access and positive meeting. We're hoping to be on an agenda. Was it June we were targeting? Yep. So we kind of refreshed everybody on the project and what we were doing, and we're feeling pretty good now that those are going to move through. One of the comments that was in, I think it was in Bonnie's letter, about showing sidewalks that connect to the other parts of Bellafield, or maybe that was Pete's letter.
I think it was mine.
Okay.
I thought, Tad, did you say something?
Yes.
And you did too? Okay.
I had it too.
You take it over then.
No, you go.
I would love you to take it over.
No.
So there was mutual consensus on talking about sidewalks.
So, I mean, that's something that we could start to wrap into the plans. We'll just need to take a look at it because, this project we're trying to get a site plan for, but the sidewalk is something that I guess expands, further into Bellafield.
Yeah, so we have a sidewalk connection from Carriageway where it intersects with St. Andrews out to Route 9, and we're going to pull it off the right-of-way of St. Andrews where we can, jump up into here, and then move it back down.
Yeah, I think that we both made the comments because just like anticipating that, there's going to be a sidewalk on Carriageway coming up,
Yep.
right? And then, so, just to be able to make an accommodation for some type of a pedestrian access so that people could get from Carriage Trail at St. Andrews Road up to the intersection, where then you can go either across the street to, the culinary development or north to Saki, so.
Yeah, we'll work with Pastoral, we'll get a preliminary layout done on that. Again, we spoke to DPW on that, and I think the consensus was we're going to keep the sidewalk behind the guide rail that's out there, and then look to move it up off St. Andrews, it's obviously a very busy road.
Yeah.
Where we can, and then back down where we need to make the connection. So,
I mean, because now that we've learned, the board has learned so much about, like sidewalks from, the DOT comments on various projects, you can have a sidewalk and not have, a curb and drainage like associated with it if you offset it a certain, like, distance from, it's either the edge of the road or the white line, I don't remember which, but, so not every sidewalk needs to have a curb, and then the curb means drainage, so as long as there's a provision for what's going on along the front of this project, so that it doesn't preclude, a connection being done, whether it's by Belfield, I don't know who, later on at some point. That's all.
Yeah, one thing you'll
Right?
see in the plat that we submit, you'll see an easement on St. Andrews for not only the sewer, but for the sidewalk as well.
Okay.
Larry, originally, that community that's going in there just east of this, that access way into what is it, Carriageway?
Carriageway, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I guess why I got a little confused was originally you had talked about it being like Serenbe, where it didn't have sidewalks and there were bike lanes and things like that.
Right, but that's
the roads were wider or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was abandoned, I believe.
No. We worked about a year ago, and we kind of defined where sidewalks would need to go versus walkable streets. The walkable streets are going to be actually in the neighborhoods.
Okay.
But not on the main roads.
Not on
We're
the
going to keep the sidewalk.
Okay.
And then that sidewalk would go to St. Andrews. Part of what we're working with Pastoral now is designing the whole, curb cut on St. Andrews there. Sidewalk will come out and then go west. And you'll see that.
Okay.
Yes, so maybe we could attach that concept plan
Yeah.
for reference with the whole length of
Right.
sidewalk
Yeah.
when
Right.
part of this particular application. We did have a discussion with the DPW as well. They, are okay with us putting the sewer force main on that side of the road. We'll just need to go through the approvals with them. They would prefer that we keep it off of the road if possible, and if it needs to be under the shoulder. They're going to be repaving St. Andrews Road. That's in their schedule soon, I think this summer, so they want us to not destroy the road. For the water main, the water's on the other side. We always had proposed to do a directional bore for the water main. They weren't a fan of the open cut idea. We're working out that detailing with the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. So I began those conversations with Jason Teed, and I think we have a lot of technical follow-up to figure out that connection. It is a 16-inch water main over there, and our hope is that they'll allow us to go underneath it and then turn it around so that we could stay out of the road completely. But if they're not okay with that, then we might need to, for the receiving pit, take some of the shoulder area. So we're working out those details. Just wanted to give a quick update on that. We are happy to keep advancing the project. We submitted the plan set, the engineer's report, and the updated architecture. I don't know if anyone had a chance to look at the updated architecture, but I think it's come along. I'm trying to remember offhand what some of the discussion points were last time. It might have been was it the east elevation that we were looking at, and or maybe it was the south elevation. No, the north.
I think I'm the one who had the comments mostly on it last time, which was mostly the north elevation being the sort of front elevation when you come in and seeming less like that in the initial design.
That's exterior wood panel. Doesn't look like it. The green doesn't look like what we envisioned either, but it'll be a nice exterior green, but what's showing up as tan is actually wood siding. So we can add, and what's not showing up here is landscaping. You can barely see it, but there's an entry awning right there, a side entrance. So we dressed up this space.
Yeah, I think what might be more useful is to show what the materials are, like maybe a little legend that shows if it's going to be a mixture of wood and other. That would be helpful for us to maybe envision it a little
Especially
bit
like
better.
maybe in detail, so you can actually see the materiality of what you're doing as opposed to just these colors.
Yeah, like if there's grain or if it's trying to,
Or even a sample board.
yeah.
Yeah, any kind
So I'll
of
tell you, we've
detail.
got, I mean, just for what it's worth, we've got a little bit of brick skirting where applicable. Some, I think one or two facades on the front will actually be bricked up, brick. So we've got brick skirting.
That's this right here?
No, yes, that's the skirting.
Water tank.
And that corner there is actually brick. That one.
Right, brick.
And so it wraps around that way as well. So we will have brick skirting, hardy in lap and board and batten in 3 colors, and wood. So I think our palette's like about 5 or 6 different surfaces, and that just creates different visuals, breaks up long throws.
Yep. No, I'm just talking, yeah, and maybe even just a link, like if you have certain brands that you, just so that we can get a sense for some of these things. You know, once we get closer, we'll want to know the materials, like earlier, someone had a box and they had actual samples.
I can
of-
bring a box in.
Yeah, when we get closer, but
Yeah.
for now, just to understand the difference between what's
So
what.
this wood face will be a vanity face. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna-
I'm just
we're
saying
gonna-
for the
It'll
board,
be
it's
nice.
just a little more detail. I think you'll be able to.
Do you generally like what's being presented? Do you generally like what's being presented?
Well, we'll be doing our comments.
Okay, that's true.
Everybody let-
I forgot.
I mean, feel free to jump in now, I mean, but I want to
Well,
let you get through your comments of,
Well, I jumped over to the architecture because I hit on a lot of the, I think, larger engineering issues
Okay.
that are worth conversation. But if when we go through the comments, if anything else was worth bringing up and discussing in this forum, we're happy to do that. So
Okay.
we're happy to hear comments, and let me know if you need me to jump back to the plans.
sure,
Or
sure,
stay here.
sure, we will definitely let you know where we want to be, but that's a great shot right there. We can absorb it. Is there anything more for now, or do you want me to start getting comments?
No, I think we're good here. We just,
Okay.
looking forward to hearing the feedback.
Okay. Ms. Moss?
At some point, I'd like to know what the elevation of St. Andrews Road is relative to the elevation of the floor of the building.
Ah,
Oh, the elevation.
I couldn't read the contours on the St. Andrews.
Well,
What's the finished floor?
I don't know how to zoom on this.
I saw it on,
The top two are right in the center.
So I have this study.
There you go.
Go down to
there's
the
a plus, there we are.
One more.
So the finished floor is around 73, and it looks like we're at 165 maybe at the road there.
Okay.
So we climb up grade. The entrance is, we had to climb to get up to the pad.
Okay.
I guess I will throw in one more engineering layer. One of Pete's questions, we did show a pipe coming back to our infiltration basin. So when we looked at the SWIP, we had to climb pretty fast to get in here, and it was hard to collect this driveway apron and driveway. And there's a swale that exists here. We're going to define it and pick it up and bring it back in here. What we were doing was planning ahead, because it is a limited amount of St. Andrews, but this is some of the best soil that we have on Bellafield for infiltration. We got really great results here, and by capturing some of this here, we believe that it's going to treat enough impervious in this area that we can credit for the sidewalk that we're going to need to put in. So we're planning, not only are we capturing what we need to on the driveway, but we're also planning ahead and trying to capture some impervious here, so we can have that credit when we get to the point of the sidewalks.
Okay, maybe move this to here. The ditch.
Yeah, we could move it back to that area that's more defined. Yes.
Well, the county will have some input into that too, what you're proposing, so work with them, also on that. I mean, so basically what you're saying is water would flow down the driveway, and there wouldn't be any basins at the bottom?
We were going to put a basin here to get it into the ditch, because it's a curbed entrance.
All right, whatever, I mean, that's an engineer, I don't know how you'd have enough, by the time you go down from the basin to where your pipe is, aren't you gonna be deep? Well, that's, whatever, I mean, we don't need to get into the nitty-gritty, but that's something that you'll have to work out and talk to the county about. But if you're gonna pipe that water into the pond, you're gonna have to take into account whatever on St. Andrews Road is draining into that like swale. I don't remember if you did that in your SWIP or not. I'd have to look at the watershed maps.
Yep, we did take a look at that. It's a crowned road, and
Well, we can have a discussion on that too, separately. We don't need to waste time here.
Sure.
Another item to
Drainage.
consider, right?
Huh?
Another item to consider as we look at this. Anything else, Ms. Moss?
No, that's all, thank you.
Okay, good point, thank you. Ms. Franson?
So you have my comments. I think they are pretty straightforward. I think just to highlight with regard to that encroachment permit, I would say ask the board whether they think that amount of encroachment is reasonable. I don't want you to necessarily change your whole layout if it turns out that's a little bit of encroachment, unless you think that putting the handicap spaces on the other side is a better layout. So I think it's just talking about how much is being disturbed, is that still better for the layout overall or not? So I was mentioning, it looks like you need a permit.
Yeah. It was, minimal, but I think 4 or 5 spaces did clip it a little bit. It would be contained within our drainage system and go to the stormwater management. But, the other part of it is it would be more convenient if we could get them in closer here, so.
With the handicap spaces.
Yeah.
I think, moving them might be the better layout.
Or they could be even closer to the building, at the bottom, on the westerly side, putting them over there. Where's the main entrance?
The main entrance is here.
Okay, so there's, but we did talk about having to maybe open up that sidewalk a little bit. That's on the side of the building
This
here?
one here, that 4-foot strip, yeah.
I guess it is still better to have them crossing the driveway, but you'll figure that out.
Yep.
But again, I just want to point out about the permit.
I would hate to lose a lot of that planted area for parking.
This
I mean,
area? Oh, this
moving
area?
one or
Yeah.
two spaces
Yeah.
may be okay, but.
We don't usually have an island that big.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we'll take a
It's a
closer
variance.
look.
They have to go into the stream corridor.
It's a variance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the 100-foot buffer a town?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
not-
undisturbed,
not
so
like
there
it-
shouldn't be any grading or anything in there.
So the other is that because this is an extended care facility, it falls under that category, there's various other information that has to get submitted about list of regulations of the other public or private agencies, applications submitted to all agencies, et cetera. So just remember that's part of the special use permit process. And in looking, if, as you're moving around or possibly relocating stormwater lines or bringing it back into the site, make sure to show everywhere where you're disturbing, trees, removing them, having to put a line in, et cetera. But otherwise, again, you have my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Sotero?
Sure, just like a couple things. You got my comments. Chris has the comments. We'll work through a lot of them.
Microphone? He's using it.
He's using it. Hello? No? It's on.
Bring it closer, he says.
It might have cut out.
Touching your teeth.
No, it might have cut out.
It's definitely on.
All right, we'll try this one. How's this one?
Yeah, that one works better.
Actually.
Okay. Okay, so, just like a couple things. Chris, as far as future, like, maintenance access, how do you plan on getting to the basin in the back?
I was looking at that. It's, we're pretty tight with the grade.
Right.
This basin here, we might be able to reshape it a little. Maybe we could just have a,
I'm not worried about that one. It's just more of the one in the
Isn't
back.
there one to
Yeah.
the north?
well,
Or the-
I was gonna see, because it looks like we have about 15 feet off
Oh, I
of
see what
the
you're
side of the
saying. I see
building
what you're
here,
saying.
like if we could reshape this
Yeah,
edge
right.
a little, maybe to have a flat, so you could get like a mini excavator back there. if
Yeah, I
needed
mean,
to
you
do
wouldn't
some
need,
work.
it was just a little mini excavator if you needed something.
Yeah.
All right, well, just take a look at it, see what you can do.
And then that would get you to the back?
To the back, yeah.
All right, so that was that, and then I guess two more small things I want to, well, I may not be so small. So can you show the, where you have the larger basin in the front and show where the outlet pipes go to the, yeah, right there.
Yeah. Larry just actually suggested that we repoint them over here towards this defined ditch, and I think that's a good idea.
Okay. So you're meeting, so as long as you're meeting pre and post, like, development flows, yeah, I mean, I would rather that you go to a more defined, like, ditch, if you can, like what
Yeah.
Larry was saying.
Yeah, I think we could point it over here. That should be pretty easy to do, and I'm pretty sure that these pipes won't see much flow. We have, these infiltration basins they have great rates, so hopefully that won't be the case too often, but we will
Right.
point them over there. That makes sense.
All right, so the only other thing I want to mention was you do have drawing C152 is a utility profile plan which shows partially how you're going to get the force main down Carriage, Way, right there. So you're going to have to continue the plan, right, to get down to the treatment plant, right?
Yeah, I think we showed the two that get we showed the profile going to the first gravity manhole, so where the force main ends on the Bellafield property. We do have that. We have profile sheets.
Because you have to do that for the health department approval, right?
We will, and that whole line was going to come in as part of a.
But you're gonna go rough in Carriageway and put in, the gravity system as part of this project. Well, whoever pays for it, whatever. But it's gonna be done as part of, the CARES project, right? Okay, so we should have the plan in our set because you're gonna grade, that like road in, so we should see that like grading for the rough in of carriageway down to wherever you're going to get to the treatment plant. And, I know on your plan, you showed some future like phases there that we haven't been approved, so you should take off, you shouldn't show any of the future like phases that the board hasn't approved yet along along carriage like way. So I only really want to see, the rough-in and, the grading that's associated with carriageway to get your sewer down to the plant.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can,
And the health department will require that anyways,
Yeah,
so, all right.
yeah. So maybe we do go to Board of Health with like a rough grading plan that shows that entire profile and all those structures, just to.
I mean, they're going to want that for like approval, they're going to want to
Yeah.
approve that, so. So anyway, so that, I think, I mean, all the rest was stuff that, Chris and I will go work out
Yep.
amongst ourselves. I don't need to get into the nitty gritty on some of this stuff, so.
Thank you. Ms. Polidoro?
So one question that we've had is about the timing of the subdivision plat in connection with this project, and also the subdivision of the remainder to create this lot, and then the final development plan for any additional work that's needed if you are creating a lot outside of the lot.
Yeah, so we're submitting lots 117, 118, which is the northwest corner, and the condominium lots 22, 23, 24 on May 19th, as one map.
Then you'll need a final development plan to start carriageway, right? Where
Yeah,
you're going to be doing
so I
that.
have to think about that. We have it all planned.
Okay.
Do I bring that master HOA, master HOA lot in now? So let me think through that. But I hear your question. I just
Yeah, it's just, if this is a lot, just for timing purposes, the site plan signature will be conditioned on getting the subdivision plat filed.
Yes, that I know.
Right.
So for timing, okay.
And the DOH approval.
Right.
Right, because we need all that. So in the plat, you'll see an easement going from the wastewater treatment plant all the way up through Carriageway and into West Dorsey. And then once we're in, not West Dorsey, St. Andrews. Once we're in St. Andrews, then there's going to be a 20-foot easement going west to carry the sewer and the sidewalk going west to pass the carriage lot and into the northwest corner.
Okay. Okay, so you're thinking through it, but that's, just wanted to make sure
Yep,
it's on your radar.
on the radar.
Anything else?
That's it.
No, thank you for that. Mr. Tuttle?
Okay, so I guess I'll just echo some of the consultants that this seems like the appropriate time to show a proof of concept for the length of the sidewalk from Carriageway down to Route 9. It doesn't seem like the easiest place to put a sidewalk, so it just proof of concept here, and it also does factor in, and so right now the plans show appeared to show some patches of trees or foliage still left along the road frontage between the roadway and the parking lot, and that will change if a sidewalk is going through there. I'm not sure where,
no,
you
you're
talked
correct.
about bringing it up into the site. I'm not sure exactly what you're thinking,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah.
it's just a time to do that.
And there's some grading issues that we gotta work through. Chris and I are working through them over there, but yeah, I think that's a great idea, proof of concept for this.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, great. I like the architecture more than I did last time.
Okay.
I don't think I have too many strong feelings or comments on it at this point. I think I'll be curious to hear what my colleagues say about it, have to say about it as well. There is a question in Bonnie's letter about a site visit. I could see that being telling and interesting for this project, but
It's been a while since we've been on that side.
yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
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 That's all.
I would be all for a site
Yeah,
visit.
in prep of that site walk, we'll have to have the building laid out, so that, or you bring your GPS.
We could put the corners,
Yeah.
stake the corners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
would be great. Thank you. Mr. Waters?
Be honest with you, I hadn't really, I looked at it earlier, the architecture. I haven't really dove into it as deep as I think I need to. It's, I'm not crazy about it, but that seems to be, my standard. So,
God, don't sound so depressed
I don't know.
about it.
I am a little depressed by it, but it's okay.
All right, so-
But that's just my opinion. That doesn't mean, I have to understand it a little bit more. I want to look at the floor plan and then relate it to the elevation. So this way I can break it all down, the size of the rooms, what's actually happening, the functions, and things like that. So I do a little bit more in-depth dive into it. And, I'm trying to understand the colors a little bit. I understand, it's for, visual and stuff, but, to me, it looks very broke. It looks like many different sections.
Can you put up the architecture? Just
The elevations, please.
Yeah.
Next cab over.
You don't happen to have the earlier edition of it, do you?
I don't have it. No, I don't. I only brought the current edition.
Ah,
Yeah. So,
I could switch the cards.
that way we can just stare at it.
yeah, so it's just, it seems like a lot of sections, so I just want to see if there's something that could unite everything together a little bit better. That's I guess is what I'll look at. And again, they're just suggestions. They're not something that, it's not necessarily my building, but it's something that might be visible, highly visible. And, we have to remember what the whole concept of the original concept was, to have it like historical Hyde Park. That was the original concept. So in this case, it's not as much that. What's happening across the way is a different project, it's more interior, so, but.
Do you think we could get a sort of comparison to the design standards and some of the architecture from the master
Sure.
plan to?
Oh, good idea, yeah.
We can do that.
That's what Rob is talking about, yep.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're gravitating away from the original concept, that's all. And again, if it works, it works, but it could be a totally different thing that is evolving. I'd like to somehow bring it back to historical Hyde Park at some point, something with it in the whole scope.
It's a good comment.
Yeah, that's all.
Yep.
And
Yep, and then,
Yeah.
We'll
and
pull out the design guidelines and.
yeah, I just need to, get my head into the plan and follow the perimeter and then see what, so I know depth of bump outs and things like that, so that's all.
It's
Yeah.
easy to do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Take them.
that's it.
Mr. V?
I'm going to echo Rob with the design standard and maybe look at, instead of the brick, maybe just some field stone or something that we have in Hyde Park.
That's what we were just talking about.
I think it's a great concept. I'm really glad something's happening on St. Andrews Road finally.
Yeah.
And, I'm good with it. Just take a look a little bit deeper and
Yep.
I think we got it.
Thank you. Mr. Oliver?
I'll echo my colleagues. I think the material choices might help a lot, especially, if you bring it all together, maybe less changes, more wood or greens because of where it's located and how that's kind of like a plateau up there. I think if you can almost blend it into the woods and the backdrop with some of that like wood paneling and greens and then the fieldstone.
So if you go to the Hardy Plank website, they actually have color samples.
Yeah.
And I told the architect, this is the color sample. And this is like the 5th version. And I just said, okay, we're not communicating, whatever. But so this picture pops a lot more.
That's why I was saying a material board, the samples will
it'll
help.
be kind of a soft sage green. I think, I'm forgetting the name of the color, but it's a very mild green that I think offsets kind of the
Yeah.
off-white.
I could bring my samples the next time.
And
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yep.
And then the brown, I mean, it looks awful, it looks like Adobe, but it's really
It's natural. You want a natural stained wood?
walnut,
or-
yes,
Okay.
yeah. And that mirrors, by the way, we're putting in some wood slatted acoustic paneling inside, just as a design feature. And MSI, if you have 10 minutes late at night and want to Google MSI, you can look at these acoustic panels. The quality and richness of that wood is what we want to put on the outside.
Yeah.
Poor representation, so it kind of pops like pastel, like almost chalky colors.
Yeah.
What we need to do is
And then we can work stone.
take that and relate it to the design guidelines
Yes.
of the board.
I think that's right, yeah.
Can I, add, is the feature of the open courtyard in the interior still there? Did you
Yes.
change the size at all, or is it still the same
It-
as the original concept?
Well, we've been through many different concepts.
It looked like it had shrunk last time.
Yeah, it was
That's
smaller,
not,
I hope.
yeah, that's not intended as our primary outdoor use space. It's intended,
The Zen.
A slice of sun in the middle of the
Kind of a,
we call it the Zen Garden.
Zen
That's our
garden.
working
Right.
name, right? Like every movie has a working name, and that's our working name for it.
yeah, I
Yes.
like that feature I like, but I just wanted to make sure that was still there. I
Yeah,
think
we-
I saw it in the plan. I saw it in the plan.
The
We
floor
wanted
plans
a
were
pr- we
included,
wanted a-
right, with this, yeah.
We wanted a protected outdoor space, somewhat protected from wind,
Yeah.
especially after last winter,
Yeah.
this past winter. So we wanted a protected outdoor space and then a functional outdoor space.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
right there.
Okay.
That's all.
Anything else, Mr. Mayor? Okay.
Are there
Um,
dimensions on that?
I don't have dimensions on it.
Ms. Lee?
I just want to echo a little bit, sort of tag on to what you're saying about your materiality looking very muted and probably not the colors they're not coming across in this project, right? So anything that you can do that's a detail that we can really see the materialities. In fact, in the elevations, we could have it in the woods, for example, or maybe like across from the parking lot, so that we can see the landscape
Rendering.
and how your colors sort of, work with or contrast or work with the landscape. Because right now, the colors are not coming, like you said, you're not satisfied. So this looks mint green, this looks very muted, this looks very pastel. That's not what you want, right? So I think the best way to do that is to maybe superimpose it into the landscape, give us some more detail, let us look at the real materialities, because it's not coming across.
Good
We
idea.
usually do either 45-degree, like bird's eye views.
Sure, an isometric
or
or
something, and we've got a
even
nice
just
sunset, all that.
on the site, it's
just
very
one
easy to superimpose plans like that onto a photograph. Then we can really see
Yeah.
how it works with the landscape. Your green, get your green right, because right now it looks like it's Tyvek before you actually put on, that
Yes,
Tyvek color I'm
yes.
talking
Zip
about.
wall.
That's not your color, you know.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That,
It's okay, it always happens. To be
I
honest,
don't
it always
have-
happens.
actually, at the end of this process, I said, let's just use the old one, because it was less Tyvek-y.
Okay,
I
yeah,
know what you're
right,
saying.
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's less a comment about the actual architecture and more a suggestion about how you present so that we can really see the materials. Thank you.
Excellent.
It also gives you a sense of scale, which you don't get. So a tree there, you'll see the scale of it, the building. how it relates to
We
its
can
environment.
put people in cars. and all that- all
Right,
that
something like
kind of
that, or one or two people on each end. The other thing is, that might help is, I always, even if it's just a preliminary drawing, you should really have the dimensions of the walls. Because that would be a big, big thing,
helpful.
because then what's going to happen is, if it's 104 feet, we're going to go into it's not 100 feet with articulation and all that. So, that's,
I don't think we have that problem here.
yeah, no. Yeah. Well, we always seem to.
Mr. Gercio?
I have nothing to add here. I think it's been said.
I think, we always have a problem with the colors, how they come out on whatever we receive. It's very hard to recreate some of these colors. It's just very hard. What I really like is all the different roof lines. I think that's, brings a lot of interest, and I find it visually intriguing.
So,
And
not to interrupt, but buildings of this size can get very
yes,
facade-ish
no,
quickly.
exactly. I mean,
And that,
it's
to me, lends a very institutional flavor to it.
No, that's kind of where I was
So-
going, is that this is not your normal, you could have just put but you couldn't have, because we don't allow it, but you could have put just like a big,
Could have tried to.
put a big old barn in there or something, and.
I mean, it reads like a large residence, which is
Yes, yes.
quite nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It
anyway,
kinda
I like the varying,
at
I like the varying elevations and the angles, and, so I like Miss Lee's idea of getting a nice, shows kind of what it looks at. Can I ask, did I hear the numbers correctly, from St. Andrews to the site, it goes down? Or does it go up? So it is up, it goes
Yeah.
up to a plateau?
Yeah.
Because in the stormwater discussions, I thought it was coming in off of St. Andrews and flowing down.
Oh, the infiltration basin is deep enough that we could collect some of the runoff from St. Andrews. but
Okay.
The pad goes higher than St. Andrews.
Okay, all right, all right.
The pad's at 173, okay, and the road's at 165-ish,
Yeah.
so there you go.
Was it 173 or 73?
170.
Oh.
We heard 73.
Yeah, that's,
Thought it was down. We all wrote 73.
yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure.
I might have
because-
checked. I might have abbreviated.
Double check.
Chris, that's the finished floor?
It goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 170.
I thought it was in a bowl.
173.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, because I was,
Sometimes I do that, I just read the last numbers.
yep. I agree with my colleagues, it might just make sure that you're following the design standards. I feel that a number of pieces do, if there's anything that doesn't, then take care of that. But sounds like we're on our way. You've got a good submission. We're talking about real issues, talking about curb cuts on St. Andrews, very exciting.
So when will you submit back?
Yeah, I think right, for architecture? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be dependent on the architecture, but we'd try and clean up the engineering comments too. If we decide to move those parking spaces, we'll, show that in our next layout.
Because I think you've gotten some really good solid comments from the consultants to help you fine tune.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll hit the next deadline, but we'll shoot for probably, it's in like 2 weeks, right? Yeah, so we'll probably shoot for the date after that.
19th is for June 3rd planning board.
Okay.
All right, well,
So what's the next one, June?
yep, no, I know you. So thank you for coming out and
Thank you.
giving us a real hard look at this.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Very good. Chris, you all set?
Does everybody want a site walk?
Yes, we'll
Set that up?
yeah, we'll talk about site walk. We can email.
Okay. Give us a heads up so we get everything ready for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can tell us like what we're looking at, if it takes a couple
Okay.
weeks to get everything set up, then we won't propose next week.
Yeah, I think the challenging part is the parking. if I remember, where to park on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll,
Especially if there's a whole bunch of vehicles that show
You
up.
can always park at the water tower.
You can park at my house and I'll take you over on the
Oh, there you go.
motorcycle.
On the motorcycle, there you go.
One at a time.
Oh, boy. My riding place
What
back
kind?
there.
Right.
What kind?
I got 40 of them.
Oh.
Cool.
We can each get a motorcycle then.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Relier Properties. Come on down, Relier Properties.
Oh, no. No, it's just, nope. No.
Sure, put yours in.
Is he gonna break it?
Should be. I've lost it, maybe. I don't know what's on it. So you can put yours in. It'll be easier for you to navigate probably.
I got the job.
Good evening, gentlemen.
I just wanted that, we wanted to.
Good evening.
Good evening. Joseph Berger, Berger Engineering.
Nelson Courtright.
Stephen Relier.
Welcome.
Well, we're here following up from the last meeting and responses we submitted to from the last meeting. Let's start
Plus, there
off-
was an offline meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, offline meeting we had.
Yep.
So, to start off, just some comments. There's no special use permit is now needed since the scale is not being increased. We're keeping the scale from the original, so we're not applying for any special use permit. It's something that came out of the last meeting. Also, changes we made, just overview of the changes we decided based on information and requests from the offline meeting and other members that the line of, let's see if we can get it over here. Well, I can't see that far.
Very top, there you go, closer.
Closer.
All right.
You can see it better than me.
Joe, maybe use the longer mic.
That better for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Up in the front, we're straightening out that curve. You see right there, it was curved before. It was requested to straighten it out so we could add additional green space in that area, which is now paved. That entire entrance, as you know, is being removed, and it's going to be turned into a green space. So there was talk about, can we straighten that line instead of curving it so that you got a little additional green space? We saw no reason not to, so we did. That was one of the comments we got. In the center, right there, the center there, I should point to it now. Right here, we're adding a stormwater infiltration trench to collect the stormwater from the site and to break up the blacktop. It's going to be around 5 feet wide.
I thought that was just below there.
Yeah, right here. Right here.
There you go, yep.
My pointing is not so good right there. You got better eyes than I do, man. Too far away from me. But the purpose of that is to break up the blacktop as requested, but to also provide for a means for the stormwater to enter into the gravel that's already under the ground. Let's see. We're moving the two things back here, which was requested. Can we move the wall this direction off the line and provide landscaping? Right in there.
So now it's wall and landscaping,
Yes.
right?
Mhm. Back to in this direction. So this building we call 1, 2, and 3. One of the conditions we wanted to talk about as we move forward toward the completion of this approval is how do we assure that this gets done? It's going to have a DOT permit, there's no doubt in that, but we think the best way to do that is to tie the completion of the CO of this building to the completion of this work here. That way, because the DOT permit is separate, as you know, from the town. So we combine those two together. We have a unified work being done at the time of the building open, beginning at CO. Dumpsters got moved over in here. There's going to be 2 dumpsters. One's going to be a locked dumpster specifically for the cannabis. It has to be locked based on law and procedure. The other would be just a standard dumpster that's going to be open for normal waste. Up to date where we are with Dutchess County Health Department, we have conceptual approval from Dutchess County Health Department just yesterday. So we're going to be hopefully getting a letter from them, not just a letter of conceptual. They told us it was okay and for me to provide them with a letter of certification of work, which I'm doing, and then they're going to send us and send it over to you as well, the actual permission to utilize the existing systems. So one of the things, as we discussed tonight offline or online with the consultants and the board, one of the things we're requesting is there needs to put the electrical system in as soon as possible for reasons of, I think there's a grant involved.
Yeah,
There's a deadline. There's a deadline to get a grant in order to upgrade, get rebate grant. It's a better word, rebate, but money back for upgrading electrical. So we were hoping that going through electrical permits through the building department would be acceptable for the planning board. We're not asking specifically for your approval, but your acknowledgement that we would be providing the new electrical to the building. Nothing can happen, it's just an upgrade of electrical. We'll get the electrical permit from the building department. But we'd like to let you know about what's going on and why.
Do you need a larger service? Is that why you're doing it too?
Yes, and a better service. It's an old line, and we want to make it reliable.
So it's almost like maintenance, right?
We want to make it reliable.
We discussed that on our call.
Yeah,
It
we'd
was
already-
just going to be maintenance, right?
Yeah, it's a maintenance thing. The old line is just too old, not going to be functional, and that's why there's a rebate. If it was a brand-new line, the rebate wouldn't be there. It's for maintenance and upgrade, or it's really not an upgrade, but it's upgrade in the sense that the old line is no good anymore. So it's maintenance.
We did discuss this at our agenda meeting, so I'll let Ms. Polidoro weigh in.
Unless the board feels otherwise, we thought it could be considered like for like or maintenance and not subject to this.
Yeah.
Like for like.
Yep, okay.
I mean, I assume the lines look the same?
Yeah, it's just a newer line, yeah.
Yep.
It's newer, but, okay.
Exactly, we didn't want to do any of that without the board not.
So
without the
something
board's
that
knowledge.
could go and proceed on its own while the site plan is pending?
It's outside of site plan in that it's electric, it's a utility,
But the site plan, if there happens to be any changes, it should be reflected on this, but.
Exactly, but if for some reason while they go out there, they move it 2 feet, we'll adjust it on the plan. It shouldn't, but
Sure.
stuff happens.
And it's in the ground, right?
Yes, it's in the ground, it'll be
And
direct buried.
There's a box where it
There's a
goes to, right?
transformer
Yes,
there, it's
thank
going
you.
to cut over, yes.
Yep.
Yes. Again, we're open for further discussion. We're hoping that at the end of tonight's discussion, we could have circulation and possibly set for public hearing. We feel we're at that stage. Obviously, up to the board's discretion, but that's our request, if we could have that so we can move forward.
Okay. Yes, so we'll get all the comments in, and we do have a resolution prepared for circulation.
Okay.
Ms. Moss?
As you know, part of this application is eliminating the used car sales, and that was a large area of that.
Yeah, they're gone,
Parking. Overall, I think the plan could be enhanced by dividing the different uses and kind of consolidating what's needed for each area. I know one of the things we talked about was more of a definition along that access road to the back, which brings me to the stormwater infiltration. The idea of removing some of those used car sale spaces was to add a landscaped area that would visually break the pavement going to the first building, and I don't think a 5-foot wide infiltration trench fits that. The proposal that I suggested had a 35-foot wide paved area between the end of those parking spaces that are abutting the building to a landscaped area, and most of that area that I suggested has been removed, so I'm guessing that that's at least 40 or 45 feet wide. And I personally think
Well,
that's...
plus all the truck turning radiuses show that there's plenty of room in there.
There was one, I think, that didn't have to follow that path. So I personally would prefer to see a better defined access road going to the back and have that visual break and disconnection of the parking area. And also, as you know, I'm not a fan of tying things to the building permit or a CO. I may not be here by the time this project is finished. Pete may not be here. It's an institutional
Well, we'll be on
knowledge.
Earth, we just may.
I don't know. You may be, I don't know whether I
Let's not get carried away.
But it might be a different town engineer and a
You're gonna
different
have
zoning
moments.
administrator, and they have no background to have a reason to pull a resolution to figure out what you have to do before a building permit or a CO. So
I have no
we
problem
may
with
have
that
had
being
some
removed.
other-
It's already going to need a DOT sign off. I just thought it would be belts and suspenders.
I think there may be
It
some
would
other
be.
ideas, but we'll...
It would be, but I want going forward,
Mhm.
I want the board to understand that we're looking at a transition to different people over the next 5 years.
Sure.
Right?
Yep, nope.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
And whichever the board wants to do on that, we were just making one offer. We're not tied to it.
The board doesn't always listen to me, Joe.
I know, but I'm also, the DOT,
Try.
typically it's a DOT permit, and it will have to have a DOT closeout. Pete knows this process as well. It's
No, we understand,
complete.
because the last one
But-
that came through, it didn't happen, so...
And I have had that in the past as well.
I know,
So
I know.
that's why we.
So we'll see
But if
what
there's
else.
alternatives you can think of, we're listening.
You know,
Any
I think
other?
one of the other things that you and I had brainstormed about was where each of those segments occur going towards the back. I see that Michelle put some trees, existing trees, back on the site plan.
Yeah, I went out and we actually located what was there as of today.
That helps. That
We weren't
helps.
sure. The last one was
Yeah.
a survey done 5-6 years ago. So she sent me out there to locate what was there.
And that-
then we added them to the plan, what was actually
That
there.
helps because it adds additional screening and it further
Mhm,
defines
mhm.
spaces, but I think we had talked about possibly just like a corner split rail fence.
That just shows the edge of that
Just to show
particular
the edge of
use area.
each of those spaces, so it's more like you're driving down a road and you're coming to building
driveway or
this,
something.
building that.
Yep.
1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah, nothing
so
big,
it's
just a little...
Just a little something. And I
Okay.
think we had talked to Michelle about maybe even just a stake with a building identification on it.
Yep, whatever it
Okay.
is.
I don't know if that made it onto the plan, but I think that would
And
help.
it would say A6 or...
It would help
Yeah.
organize the site.
Yep,
That's all.
thank you. Excellent comments. Ms. Franson?
So I did provide written comments to the applicant. I wanted to point out that there are a whole set of new notes about different kinds of hazmat and potential waste materials, just to take a look at that. I don't know if any might need an operating permit, so you should check into that. There's a,
For the cannabis, no.
not for the cannabis, but whatever's being stored, all those notes that were added, there's some things that may or may not be subject to an operating permit per the code, so I would defer to Tad.
Okay, we'll look again.
Um,
We reviewed that, but we'll look again.
I'm a little concerned, so because there are heavy vehicles going through here, you have some landscaping equipment, et cetera, I'm always concerned your stormwater, I don't know what kind of facility that is, but, the concern is that something could drive over it or damage it. And
Is that in the back? or-
It's in the back.
That's what is that in the front that you were
Or are you
adding?
talking about the infiltration trench?
The infiltration trench, is it just
Infiltration
a,
trench is just a stone trench. Trucks can drive over that without hurting it.
So it's not even green.
It's just a stone trench.
They can't drive over. I mean,
Yeah, they
the heavy trucks that are going to be in the back, I suggested when Bonnie and Ann and I, were emailing that in order to protect that stone infiltration trench, and then also, I think on the east side, there was some like signs or something like that to prevent like creep more up the hill. I mean,
Yes.
personally, I suggested in the email that there should be a post and rail fence along, the south side to
In the
protect,
back there where the
to-
bioretention ponds are?
to protect whatever stormwater facilities Joe's going to go put in, and then also the post and rail fence to go up, the east side, because, I can just see there, be like creep over time.
And we know that the
And those
pile-
trucks, and some of those.
And this is
those-
for the piles, right?
Yeah, and those.
Yeah, and we know the piles change sizes, but as they do it, they can move and creep and get closer and,
Yeah, they'll
so we're just-
destroy the infiltration trench.
Yeah.
I mean,
right, so you provided the protection on the north side, but on the south side, you do have that infiltration area. You were also proposing to put fertilizer and I forget what else right there on pallets, it said on the plan. I don't think that's probably the best place to put it. Well, so then you'll... That's a concern. So,
we put on pallets there would be like stones.
okay, so you should take a look at some of the notes in
Yes.
terms of where things are.
No chemicals, no pesticides, nothing.
Okay. So,
yeah,
and I think...
covered in tarp.
Yes, I think to Tad's comments, it would really be useful to better define these spaces. And the parking is sort of almost like a little bit of an afterthought at this point. Where the mushroom grower is, there's a hoop structure now in one of the parking spaces, and when I went to visit it, there was another hoop structure there, so there are two hoop structures now. And so those parking spaces are gone. There are two parking spaces showing behind building, I think it's A6, but they're on the gravel. And again, I think it's just there's parking spaces here, there, whatever, and it'd be just useful to organize them, a little bit better. The same thing with the very first building, you had the 7 spaces, then you have that, I think, machine that's in front of the entrance, but then you have an 8th space kind of on the side. And so it almost, in looking at it, could you have just put all the 8 spaces together and then put all your mechanicals on the side? So it's just more an organizational layout perspective. So we talked about the stormwater, we talked about organization, we talked about protection of places that need to be avoided with the, some kind of post and rail, look at the storage notes, and then you have my other comments that you could take a look at in the memo. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Sotero?
Yeah, I didn't issue a letter because there's really not that many engineering comments. I did send an email to the board, Ann and some members here, and Michelle, and I talked a little bit about, and this goes back to Tad and tying things to the CO. I don't know how we could do it any differently, because if we were going to go. If we were working on a brand new site and somebody was building like a building, they issue the permits, and then before the CO, which, the zoning administrator and the building inspector have to issue, Tad and I, go out and look at the site improvements. Yes, are they generally done? I sign off on it, then they issue, the CO. So, I mean, I don't know what else we could tie it to, and honestly, to go a little bit further, and Tad's like, eyes will probably start like twitching.
Already?
But
They already started.
they are, but I mean, honestly, all of the site improvements that are proposed should be done before the CO is issued,
Thank
not just, oh, really? You like that?
Repeat that?
Cool. So, not just, the DOT, like entrance,
Yeah.
but everything, the back would need to be cleaned up. So any new proposed site improvements that you approve should be installed before, the CO is issued. I know that's a lot of
Yeah.
work, but I mean,
I
we
think
have
that,
nothing
though,
else
that
to,
works well for everybody.
we
I
have
think
nothing
that
else
helps.
to tie it to.
I think that helps the applicant, and it helps the town, because then, but I see Victoria.
Well, when you.
No, go
finish,
ahead.
I just need clarification if this is a 1 CO situation or a
Right.
5 CO situation.
It's a one.
One
the-
CO.
The only CO we're looking for is for that building.
Right.
The front building.
For the
front
canvas building.
Yes.
Okay, that's the only one that's gonna get a CO.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
why I'm
that-
saying
That
that.
helps, okay,
That's
so,
what I'm saying.
So
building,
there's nothing else to tie anything else to.
okay.
That was all I had.
Yeah, no, I think that's, I think, again, it works for, it could work for both the applicant
Okay.
and the town.
Understood.
Ms. Polidoro,
I don't have any legal issues.
you've already weighed in on the electric work?
We're waiting on some of the cleanup and,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Mr. Tuttle?
I guess I would just echo that there is a lot of hopping around here where I had been looking at that area behind building A123 as well, where there is a loading zone, and I guess it changes from concrete to pavement, and then there is a generator, and then there is parking space 8, and then there is the dumpsters, and then there is parking space 9. And it is a lot of, it's jumbled. And I don't know if there's a lot, for the things that are proposed that are not new, or that are new, is there a reason the generator is sort of within the parking spaces there instead of being set off to the side? Is there a way that do we need to add something to make sure that dumpsters aren't blocked or things like that? So I'm just echoing that there is some ways that it feels like this could be clarified. And then the idea of sort of better separating the paved drive, as Tad talked about, makes sense to me. If it is feasible to extend that, right now it's an infiltration trench. Were you thinking of it more as a landscaped island? Is that
Yes.
right? That would make sense to me and be ideal. If there are reasons we can't do that, I'd hear them, but that would make sense to me to do that as well. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Mr. Waters?
I like his comments.
Yeah?
So I'll second that.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Veith?
I like that Pete could read Tad's mind.
We've worked together for a while.
It's
Been a long time.
We're still gonna keep in touch when we both
Kick off. No comments at this time.
Okay. Mr. Oliver?
Nothing new to add.
Ms. Lee?
Just thank you for your continued housekeeping on the site. I know there's a lot of moving parts. Also, I just wanted to say that I have no issue with upgrading the electrical so that you can get that grant.
Yeah.
I had to do that at my own property,
Yeah.
as Dow knows. So that makes sense to me, and something you can move forward with while all this other stuff gets done.
Thank you. Mr. Guercio?
No comments.
Okay. I would echo Mr. Tuttle's comments about widening and Tad's comments about enhancing the infiltration trench, because you drive by there now and it's just a sea of asphalt.
I haven't noted it.
Yep, thank you.
Very detailed note.
Thank you. So I would guess my question is, I don't think the board needs to we don't do anything to allow you to do electrical work, right?
No.
I have to authorize the building. permit
Okay,
if-
but
if we have a building.
you've heard that there's nobody
Yeah.
saying no, that they shouldn't do it, so, cool, all right, so that would
Thank
be
you.
okay.
Thank you.
But I do, whatever you can to just, again, this is a chance just to delineate the site.
We'll take
better.
all that in
And
consideration.
just little things, you know,
Yeah.
we're not asking for anything major.
I just want to point out, so remember, this is an existing site, so what
Mm-hmm.
looks like it's a little disorganized is because the site was that way. And we will do whatever we can to
Yeah.
try to organize it, but we're not starting with the plain piece of
No,
paper.
no, we understand, we've
Okay,
been.
I just wanted to point that out, so.
We have done a number of site
But
walks.
we
We are very
yes, you
com-
have.
Yes.
And we've taken these in, and we've tried to fix it, and we'll try to do a little bit more for you, taking in your comments very seriously, written them down, and
Okay.
Yeah,
we will.
now's the time to do
Yeah,
it.
because we're getting, you know, the comments that we have are not major at this point.
I
So we are,
understand.
so we're ready
Well-
to circulate tonight.
Good,
And we are looking to set a public hearing.
thank you.
So, Mr. Gercio, I believe you have,
Yes. Resolution to recirculate amended site plan to all involved and interested agencies, Relier Properties, dated May 6, 2026. Resolution 2023-64A, whereas. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby directs its secretary to send a courtesy recirculation of the project and amended EAF to all involved and interested agencies, and directs its secretary to refer the site plan set to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to section 239-M of the general municipal law.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? And we have interested and involved agencies, New York State DOT, Dutchess County Department of Health, and Roosevelt Fire District. So you have 3 of those. And we discussed that it doesn't make sense to set a public hearing until we know that we will have gotten our comments back. So we were thinking of June 17th.
June 17th is fine.
Okay, that'll give you time to work through
June
and
17th is perfect.
and get us
And
everything.
we want the
we've-
circulation time too. We want to
Yeah.
get comments, if
Good.
they have any. We'd
Yep.
like to see the comments from all those interested
Yes.
agencies as well.
Good,
So
okay, so
we concur.
may I get a motion to set a public hearing for June 17th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Who do I give the circulation documents?
Madam Secretary, as Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Guys,
evening.
have a good night.
Yep, yep.
And let's bring them outside.
And I think we're done with our consultants for the evening.
All right.
I believe so.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you to Ms. Polidoro and Mr. Sotero and Ms. Franson. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. All right, we just have a few items to get through. Next item on the agenda is a site plan waiver for Gary and Liz Hilton. They are looking to do a deck expansion and replace doors and windows.
Okay, site plan waiver, Gary and Elizabeth Hilton, 64 River Road, May 6, 2026, resolution 2026-11. Whereas an application requesting a waiver of site plan has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Gary and Elizabeth Hilton on March 18, 2026, for property located at 64 River Road in the Town of Hyde Park. And whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives the site plan requirements for the file entitled Hilton regarding the specific request as submitted to the Planning Board on March 18, 2026, and to the Building Department on February 10, 2026.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is another site plan waiver, this time for installation of an in-ground pool generator and gazebo.
Yes. Site plan waiver from Mark Van Beeko and Lisa Wood, Resolution 2026-14, whereas an application requesting a waiver of site plan has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Mark Van Beco on April 16, 2026 for the property located at 120 River Road in the town of Hyde Park. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the file entitled Van Beco regarding the specific request as submitted to the Planning Board on April 16, 2026, and to the Building Department on April 14, 2026.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is another site plan waiver, this time for approval for a side entry porch.
Site plan waiver, Denise Meyerson, 17 Mountain View Avenue, Statsburg, New York, May 6, 2026, resolution number 2026-15. Whereas an application requesting a waiver of site plan has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Denise Meyerson on April 26, 2026 for property located at 17 Mountain View Avenue, Statsburg, New York. And whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the construction of a side entry porch as described in the request for a waiver of site plan received by the Planning Department on April 29, 2026, and in the building permit application dated April 17, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. May I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So